In this week's video, I'm going to be painting a watercolor of a radish. I saw these at the grocery store the other day, and that pop of cherry red was just the perfect antidote for the weather that we've been having. It has been really cold and really snowy. Now the leaves, they're a little rough, and I'll show you in the photo above. So what I did was I pulled out some reference material from a previous painting that I had been working on, and I did a sketch to help myself notice the placement and what the leaves actually look like. Then once I was satisfied with the drawing and the way it looked on paper, I transferred it over to 100% cotton watercolor paper. I'll walk you through the steps that I use to paint this small watercolor. First, it's wet on wet. This is the base color that I'm going to be using, so I've got a coat of water, and now I'm dropping in Alizarin Crimson. This is very, very light. It's not a very dark layer. The brush has a lot of water in it, and the paint itself is a very watery mix. This should cover about 2/3 of the body of the radish itself. Now, from here, I'm going to be adding Cerulean Blue, and that is going to go on the left side of the radish, and that is the highlighted side. And I'm going to drop the color in. Now it looks kind of dark here, but I'm going to be lightening that. My goal at this point is to get this as light as possible, but also to blend. I want the two sides to be very soft. Because the paper is still fairly wet and the brush itself is damp, it's not loaded with water right now, I should be able to very gently mix the two together and prevent any hard edges from forming. On the right side, I'm also going to put a little sliver of cerulean blue, and this is for a reflected light from the surface that the radish itself is sitting on, and I'm going to keep this a fairly thin sliver. Moving down to the bottom portion where that root comes out, I'm going to be using a damp brush, and I'm going to be removing some of the paint. It's too dark down here. There's too much color down here. The paper is still damp, so at this point, I'm going to be able to swipe across it and just gently remove some of the color, some of the paint off of the surface itself. As I swipe, I then take the brush and I remove the paint from the brush itself using a paper towel. I'm also going to want to go up to around the middle of the radish, and I'm going to remove some of the paint there, just here and there, because I want some highlights there too. I'm going to be applying the second coat of alizarin crimson, or glazing as they call it. Now these are thin layers of paint built one on top of the other, and I'm just going to build it up because I want a very vibrant red by the time I get done. I'm using round brushes on this painting. It's a small painting, so I don't need anything like a large flat or any. The sizes I have are 10, 8, and 6. The 10 I used for the wash at the beginning, but basically I have been working with the 8 and the 6. And this is my silver black velvets that I use all the time. They come to a really nice point, so I haven't really needed to go and use any other brushes. I'm touching in a couple dabs of water here because I'm going to be adding some Scarlet Pyrrol here. This is on the side where the light is hitting it, so I want a warm glow. So I'm using the orangey color to build in that warm orange glow. And I just keep building up layers until I get the desired effect that I'm looking for. I'm going to add a touch of permanent rose now, about 3/4 of the way down the radish. It's going to give it a nice warm red feeling. And you can see I'm kind of hesitating for a minute. I'm trying to think exactly where do I want to place this color. The paper is damp and the mixture is pretty watery, and I'm just going to lay it in. And you can just see me just kind of moving very cautiously as I'm putting it in there. And then a little dab of Scarlet Pyrrol right there at the top. And then I'll take the brush and I'll wipe it off on a paper towel. I don't know if you can see it. That way I can just smooth the edges. I'm trying, of course, trying to stop any hard edges from forming. My next step is to define the radish even more. This thin sliver of blue that you see there, that's a little bit of reflected light. And after I get that worked in, I'm going to add a wash of Cerulean Blue, mix it with Alizarin Crimson. This is going to give you a shadow, and this is what's going to give the radish some volume. What I don't want is I don't want the painting to just lie flat. I want the fullness of the shape to show through. I'm getting to the point now where it's coming together. I'm going to just do a little touch up here and there. I'll probably use some Prussian blue down at the bottom. I just want to define that edge a little more, but I'm getting to the point where I'm pleased with how it's working out. Next, I'm going to work on the leaves. So for the last step in this painting, what I'm going to do is the leaves, and I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. I'm going to put cerulean blue over the leaf itself as the underpainting, and then I'm going to go on top with sap green. I'm just going to keep it very loose. That should actually just finish off the whole radish itself. I put down a very light coat of water, and then as you can see, I'm dropping in very light cerulean blue. After this, I'm going to just put in some sap green. I'm going to keep it loose. It's just going to be a wash of color. If you're enjoying these tutorials, please consider subscribing. I really am enjoying making them, and I'm trying to put at least one video up a week.